Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb, joined once again by my friend Zach the Canadian, and this is HITBOX, the gaming podcast where we talk about all things video games, and this time, we're actually going to be talking about video games that came out before 1985. And if you didn't already know, this is technically the second part of a larger episode that we have already been working on, and you can check out that previous episode before listening to this one. However, this is perfectly fine for you to jump in right here. But without further ado, let's talk about some video games.
Good.
But anyway,
we should move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Anyway, we've got so many games to talk about.
Right.
Next we got is Robotron.
Yes, Robotron 2084. So for those curious at what you're looking at, it's a mess. I will give you that. This is a game by Williams from 1982, correct? Yes.
Believe so.
Yes. So from what I understand and from what I've been able to find, this is the first twin-stick shooter ever made. So literally on the cabinet, you are given two sticks, one for your movement and one to shoot in any direction you want.
Yeah, you're defining like 20% of indie games anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really their grandfather.
Geometry Wars, for those of you who know that, that's basically where that came from.
I mean, imagine it's going back to Asteroids again. It's if that had that extra level of control.
Yeah.
Because Asteroids, like I said, only has you have the one analog.
Yep.
And you have a button to fire.
That's it.
And just pushing forward is your thruster. You can go side to side to turn. That's all you had. This, you have so much more control over that. That's what makes twin sticks so much more fun.
Yep.
Not that neither aren't fun, but more like genre defining.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's reason to make new twin sticks, and there's reasons for games like Nova Drift to exist.
Exactly.
It's really cool in that regard. Unfortunately, we couldn't play it here for you, but still we can showcase it. I'd still say we should keep moving as fast as we can. Still in the space shooting, or rather just the shooting theme that we got going on here.
Yes, sir.
We have Defender.
Defender, yep. So this was originally a game, another one by Williams, I believe. This one that we're playing is the Atari 2600 version.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Okay, here we go.
Oh my god, I love that effect.
I know, that laser that you... Yeah, so this is the first horizontally scrolling shooter. It's basically an infinite looping plane, and the whole point is you're supposed to try to shoot down every spaceship, and if you don't do it in time, every so often, they'll start stealing or start kidnapping...
Let me showcase another really cool part of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn around.
Oh my gosh.
Not only is it scrolling, you can go the other way.
Yes, and for those watching, those little blue and yellow blips that those UFOs are pulling up, those are supposed to be people. And you're supposed to be saving them from the spaceships.
Yes.
You're the defender. Haha, get it? Yeah.
Honestly, I could see modern versions of this coming out nowadays.
The original arcade version is really pretty. It's very well done. Yeah.
Also, if you're able to hear this, like I said, volume-wise, I'm not sure how much is coming through. I'm going to turn it up just a bit, just because Atari sounds are so freaking good. Here we go again.
You gotta click the screen.
I know. It screws me up every time.
Yep.
Listen to that. God, it's so good.
Imagine this coming out of like a good bass.
Oh, I know.
That would be really fun.
Oh, and this the color of it too. Look at like the laser beam changes color. The sound effect, like you have scrolling cityscape underneath you. This is one of the most advanced Atari games I've ever played.
Yeah, no, it's really good, and it's a very commendable conversion of the arcade original. It's really.
You also have another thing I want to point out.
Yes.
On top of all that, you have a map. So I can actually see where the other spaceships are, and I can hunt them down.
Yep, and also save the humans.
Yes, exactly. There we go. So that cleared that level. So yeah, there's a lot to this one. It's so cool.
And it just keeps going too.
Yeah, and I might take back what I said about Asteroids. This is probably the better game, but that's why I was hesitating, because there's a lot of good games on Atari, and I feel like, like we said before, if we start from 85, we're not going to get to see all these really cool games.
You don't get to see the beginnings of a lot of different genres. I mean, you have the first horizontal shoot 'em up.
Yep, and effectively,
Yeah, and this is like the pre-Gradius, or Gradius, however.
Very, very awesome, but we'll play it all day if we don't move on, and we have so many more to get to.
Yes.
So here's another, I guess, in that shooting theme, almost like the twin stick concept that we had for before.
Yep.
This is Castle Wolfenstein from 1981.
Yes, sir. And as far as I was able to find, and for those of you who are familiar with like the newer Wolfenstein games, like the New Blood, the New Order, and all that stuff, not quite exactly where it all starts, but this is the beginning of that of that series.
Right, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. You could dig into the history of Wolfenstein, and we might eventually talk about it if there's like a big Wolfenstein game for some year, but for now.
So, but again, this is mainly a stealth game. So you are a prisoner of war imprisoned in the title castle of Wolfenstein, and the whole point of the game is for you to try to find your way out. Some things are pre-generated, like some layouts or some enemy positions, but how they act depends on different situations. You can actually kill one of the guards, you can take the keys to unlock doors, or you can search the body, and you do have to wait on a timer because the game's like, oh gosh, what do I have to find? But after enough searching, you can actually find a uniform, and you can try to pass yourself off as one of the guards to try to escape. And if you had a specific add-on, again, this is for like an Apple II, you actually could get voices highly compressed, but they were actually understandable. There. Yeah, and all in German too. So they would actually say, "Halt, where's your pass?" And it would have English subtitles, and it would actually see if you had like a pass or keys or a badge, and it's like, "Oh yes, go ahead then." And if not, you have to get into a gunfight with very, very limited ammo. And it's such a complicated game, and
it's so far ahead of its time.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a shame.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other games, and later we've kind of planned ahead several episodes of this series in the future, and there's a lot of them that I look at and go, man, that poor game was just too far ahead of its time, and that was its downfall.
Yeah, the company who made this basically went under after they made the sequel. And that's the terrible part.
Right, and that's why its history is kind of complicated.
Exactly.
But anyway, yeah, very fascinating, crazy stuff that they were pulling off back then.
Yep.
But yeah, another really big one here. We're looking at Missile Command.
And it's a shame that we can't play this. I would have thought it would have been in the arcade game site, but who knows?
Yes, this is an Atari game, and I'm going to pull some shots of the Atari game up here.
Yep.
But yeah, this...
Yeah, so you want an example of a Cold War game, a Cold War era game.
There we go.
You can't get any more Cold War era than this one. So the whole thing is, it doesn't matter which side, it doesn't tell you if you're Russian or American. The whole point is, the other side has launched their arsenal of nuclear weapons. You will have to guard 6 cities using only, depending on which version of the game, 3 to 1 missile silos. And you have to use them sparingly because there is a limited amount you have, and you have to fire them in specific ways to shoot down the other missiles so they do not destroy your cities. The beautiful thing about this game, it never ends. Eventually,
a lot of Atari games are like that too. But I'll let you go on.
But the thing that I really appreciate about it is that it plays into, I think, an overall theme.
Right.
Is that it never ends. Eventually, you're going to die. Everyone you are sent to protect is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, you boot up a doomed game, knowing you're booting up a doomed game.
It's that meme. It's like the only way to win is to never play the game. But yeah, and I think that's such a beautiful thing for 1980. Gosh, 1980.
I don't know how much of the subtleties of that they were intending, but I mean, hey, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, look at how much was packed in when they were allowed to say all this stuff when Hideo Kojima got Metal Gear Solid.
Right. Well, the one thing I will say, I did read an interview with the man who made this game. It was just one man, like you said. It was only the programmer who made these games. This man had nightmares for years after making this game.
Poor guy.
Because
I can imagine.
He dreamt his city being destroyed in a nuclear fire.
He was not the only one. This is the era that we're looking back on right now, and it's reflecting itself in the games. And the reason games like this were popular is because a lot of people associated with that idea.
If there's another channel I can plug real quick, there's a channel called Ahoy, and they talked about the nuclear age and video games and how everything coalesced. He does a far better job and has a lot more time to tell that story than we do right now. Which is a shame.
Yeah, I know. We're like, hey, let's have a Hitbox series where we do nothing but talk about games that we love for each year.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of time. We have no time.
Because we have so many to get through because there's so much.
There's too many. But I know, but there's so much we could dig into that. I figure we should...
This is, out of this entire list, I think this is actually one of my top 3 games in this whole set.
Really?
Yes, I love this game so much.
It's a shame I didn't get to play it on here, but if you ever get a chance, try and play Missile Command for Atari. But just moving on forward, because we'll never do it if we don't. We're gonna try and play Frogger, which for some reason is saying Froggy here.
I think this was a modded version that got uploaded,
Is it?
it looks like. But
Okay.
it's the gameplay is still going to be the same. So for those of you watching and listening, this is a game by Konami.
There we go.
There
Okay,
we go.
so we
All
don't really have audio, it looks like, for some reason, but whatever. This is a modded version of it, and I think everyone
Yeah.
kind of knows what Frogger is anyway,
Yeah.
but it's the fact that, hey, this is when it starts.
Right, so this was basically the game that put Konami on the map. This was... How?
How did that happen? Whatever. I mean, if you're watching it, you'll be a little more confused. Otherwise, you're listening to us
me
and just go
too.
like, what the heck happened? But
Don't worry about it.
I'm
Shenanigans
worrying
happened.
so much.
So anyway...
What happens if I find Lady Frog?
So you earn more points. So when you get
Okay.
to one of those places that have what's supposed to be a fly at the top...
I died again.
I don't know why you're
Oh, am
doing
I supposed to going...
Oh, you're going in the space,
I'm
the
going
blue space.
in the space. That's weird. Oh, okay, my bad.
okay.
All right, so anyway,
Yeah, so this is the game that basically put Konami on the map. This is Konami's Pac-Man, basically.
yes.
So you're playing as Frogger.
There we
and
go.
The whole point is the frog is supposed to cross the street in the stream, avoiding turtles, moving rocks, and hedges, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the hedges kill you.
Yeah. And,
And swimming, water kills you too.
you're an amphibian. I don't know how that works, but whatever.
Water is bad.
Why are we going faster?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't
But
know,
yeah,
man.
so-
I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, and if you can do it 5 times, you win
Yeah,
the round.
fill in all of the spaces, and you
Yeah.
effectively won that round, and you can move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. I never really had much affinity with this game. It's just okay.
I actually had the Game Boy Color version of this game. The last Game Boy Color game I think that was released, or
Really,
one of them.
I played a lot of it on one of those cheap just handheld version games. I don't know. It might have just said Frogger.
yeah.
I don't know, some nameless thing, but wasn't a Game Boy. But yeah, I did play a lot of it, but I just never really.
I enjoyed it.
It's good enough.
It's
you know.
it's simple. It's repetitive.
yeah.
You get into a groove. It's fun.
That's really all it is.
Yeah.
And moving on, we're looking at Colossal Cave Adventure,
Colossal Cave Adventure.
1977.
Yeah, buddy.
So this DOS game, Apple II?
No, this was an old mainframe, university mainframe
man.
game. So I don't remember where exactly this was first made, but basically this is the progenitor of the text-based adventure game.
Yeah, this is basically the best screenshot I can get for you guys. I'm going to try and move this a little bit so you can see it better.
Right. So the whole point of the game is you are a spelunker, and you're trying to explore this entire cave system. You earn points for different things you find, different items, and different places you uncover. And this has basically a command prompt that you enter in, telling the game what to do. Either go north, go south, east, or west. Pick this up, put this down. And it's a text parser. That's the term I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Like, people play games like this even on their Alexas and Google. There's a Google one too. But yeah, like, where you're basically saying like you're in a dark bedroom. There's a sink and it is clogged next to you. You could then. Well, I mean, the advanced ones, you could say, like,
yes.
Looking under the pillow. But this is more of like, you're north, west, and you're kind of just giving it just very short commands, and
Yes.
there's a set path of how you're going to solve the predicament that you're in.
Right, and it's very basic. And the one thing I do like about this is that it's actually based on the Mammoth Caves in Kentucky, right? Because
I
always
believe
get that,
so.
I always get that confused.
Yeah.
I always think it's either Kentucky or Tennessee.
Oh, I thought you were
can't
saying
remember.
if the game was based on that. Yeah, I'm pretty
Yes.
sure it's Kentucky.
Okay, cool.
Go on, I'm gonna double check, fact check while you talk.
Fact check, hurry. So again, yeah, it's a very simple thing, but what it actually allowed to happen was that we got a cascade of amazing adventure.
It is
titles.
Kentucky.
It is Kentucky. Okay, good. I am not totally inept at geography. Phew.
We will probably say a lot of incorrect things in these
Oh my
videos,
gosh.
and I'm so sorry if we do, but at the very least, I can try and protect some of them. If
We have the technology.
But anyway, actually,
yes.
we have a really similar game to this next.
Yes.
So how about we move on to that, because it's also a text-based adventure, unless there was something else you wanted to cover about...
No, that was basically it. It started out as a mainframe and then just got out eventually.
All right, so Zork from
Yes.
1980.
1980. This is I think the first Infocom game that was released. This is notable for being the first commercially released bit of interactive fiction, basically. So it takes a lot of the same ideas and concepts behind Colossal Cave Adventure, the text parser, but it adds a lot more complexity. So you are an explorer in a new land, and the whole point of the game is you're supposed to explore the great underground empire. And this is notable for like different phrases like, "It is dark. You need a lantern before proceeding. A Gruit can eat you."
Well, also, you got to think other games later can't do it unless this system is developed.
Right.
It's got to work somewhere before you can have Zelda 2, where you need a lantern before you can explore this cave.
Exactly.
Right? It's the exact same idea, but those cannot work unless something does it first. And this is the best place to do it, is figuring out how are we going to at least just bare bones get the text to work.
Right, exactly. And again, you're also earning points because, again, you're an adventurer. And it actually takes that...
Well, also, this is the 80s at this point.
But you're collecting jewels, you're collecting swords, you're collecting...
You have an inventory.
Yes, exactly. So it really takes that idea of adventuring and that sort of tabletop kind of play and actually does a fairly good job of putting it in just text form.
It's really cool. Now, speaking of adventuring...
Yes?
Our next game.
What's it called?
So we got to keep moving on. This is called Adventure.
Adventure!
On the Atari.
The Atari 2600.
Yeah,
It's a good game.
Do my best to try and do things here for you. I might have to reset it again.
We might.
Yes, I might have died, or that's actually all I've done. But yeah, here we go. So if you can see any on screen here, I'm effectively going to try and play this while Zach tells us about the game.
Right, so again, it was released in 1980, initially developed for the Atari 2600, and the whole point of the game is you are, I guess, supposed to be a knight. Yep. And it's basically a game of just moving things or picking things up and putting them down.
Oh, I see. Right. Do you want the...
Yes.
Oh, it's an item. Right.
Yeah, that's a sword. So the whole point is that you're supposed to try to slay... I believe it's just a dragon that you're supposed to go after.
So you can see that now, for people watching this, the gate opened up when I got a key. I went inside, got a sword, and that was a very simple opening area just to try and teach you how to play the game.
Right.
A lot of games that came later, and I mean much later, like this only got perfected, I'm going to say NES did it somewhat. We kind of mentioned this in Super Mario Brothers, but I'm thinking Super Nintendo really did this best. That era of like have an opening level to teach the player how to play the game without saying anything. So it's really impressive to see that in an Atari game. We got multiple screens. That's already a big enough deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But then having the everything like knows how to function.
Oh, good. You had the gold sword, so you were able to slay the gold dragon.
Awesome.
And he's gone.
Yep, cool.
But yeah, so, and the other big thing I want people to, I'd like to know for... Excuse me, I can speak English.
Can you, though?
No, English is hard. I'm Canadian. What do you want from me? So anyway...
Whoa!
Oh, yeah, he came back. Wow.
My gosh, he's... But anyway, yeah, this is a really advanced Atari game.
No, I remember the goal. You're actually supposed to find basically this game's stand-in of the Holy Grail, the chalice.
Right.
And bring it back to the gold castle. But the thing that I think that this game is should be noted for is that this is the first game that has an Easter egg. You want to know what that Easter egg is?
Oh, so I can't kill him.
No, you can't. You need to find a green sword.
But I want
get that key. Get that key and go. Run away. You knocked him out with...
A key. Yeah,
yes,
I knocked the dragon out with a key. Be quiet, it worked.
See, now you can go through that gate.
Well, is it a gate?
Oh, no, never mind.
No, that's not a gate.
Shoot.
But anyway, you can effectively see how the whole thing functions.
Yeah, but okay, so... But the Easter egg, yes, is actually credits. It is actually the name of the man who created this game.
Sad.
Yeah, because, again, people weren't allowed to put their names to games. They wanted you to be aware of just the company and wanted you to associate the games with the company, not the individuals.
Yes, and we're also going to have some weird things to talk about with credits in our next video, especially.
Yeah, oh gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh, but yeah.
But yeah, and... I don't even remember how you're even supposed to do it. It's been so long since I even tried it.
Yeah, I am familiar with it, but I've never actually gotten a chance to play it myself until today. So yeah, I'm not really sure where you take the second key, but so we get the idea.
Yeah.
It's a very advanced Atari game, a very interesting one, because there's a lot of stuff like that. Of course, was inspired by this later. You can even say The Legend of Zelda might have only existed because of Adventure on Atari.
That's right.
You didn't play. Anyway, moving on to another game that inspired a lot of others that you didn't play.
No, and I had no idea existed until this person right here informed me.
That's me!
Yeah.
We're talking about Dragon Stomper.
Right.
This
Why
is a
don't you
game-
tell them about Dragon
So
Stomper?
Dragon Stomper, actually, honestly, I didn't know about it until I was doing my research for my episode, Playing With Myself on, of all things, Digimon. And it was because I was doing like a running gag in the intro of like, oh, well, this is a ripoff of that. Well, yeah, well, that's a ripoff of this. And everything like boils down to being a ripoff of something else.
Yep.
But along the lines, I was going through basically JRPGs, and it brought me to Dragon Stomper as like the first RPG that was like playable on a video game console. And I was like, are you kidding me? On the Atari, you're playing an RPG? That can't be right. And so I started researching into this, and yeah, this is a really advanced game and a really impressive one, and I am so disappointed I can't play it for you guys here.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't out on that site, and I don't know where I can play it.
I don't know where to even
I'd love to. I'd love to sit down and just watch some footage of it and just see some more about this, because effectively what this is this is very simply put, interpreting Dungeons and Dragons, which had been around obviously for a quite a while.
1974.
Yes, I was going to say mid to early 70s, but so interpreting Dungeons and Dragons and turning it into just a video game that you could sit down and play, which is so ambitious. Like, there's a reason Dungeons and Dragons, even to this day, is still using books and is just an on hands and imagination based game.
Yep.
Is because of how in depth it is. Can you imagine how ambitious it is? You want to take that and you want to put it into. So yeah, now of course it makes sense. You want to attribute things to numbers, which you do in Dungeons and Dragons. You want to have, have different stats. You want to be able to move to different tiles or screens of dungeons, and you want to be able to fight and get stronger.
Yep.
And doing all of that, going in dungeons and fighting dragons and stuff, that's incredible. You want to try and pull that off. Now, of course, it's going to be very simple, kind of similar to what we were seeing from Adventure. However, there's a lot more visually going on, in my opinion. Just of what you can see here. And from what I've read, there's so many more things in Dragon Stomper. It's incredible.
There's different environments. You actually have a boss room at the end of the game to actually stomp said dragon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stomp that dragon. But also there's like other, I'm trying to get a better shot here so we can see it. There's text that shows up at the bottom of the screen, kind of gives you options, lets you know what's going on, what you can do, which is good because there's so many things that you could have done, and this really would have been a definitive guide game if it didn't have that. And Atari really didn't do that, So
not really, no.
That's really cool. There's a lot of stuff that just make this game really
or if it was
interesting.
attempted, it wasn't always done well.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
But moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Yes.
In the same vein, Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer. Yes.
Now we're in 84.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dragon Stomper was 82, by the way, which is why I was now gravitating to that one as like the earliest, at least attempted rendition of trying to do this on a video game console.
Right. Dragon Slayer. So for the best way I could describe this is basically one of the first action role-playing games. This is made by Neon Falcom.
Yes. Here's a good zoom shot if I can. Oh, of course not.
No, of course.
Go ahead. I'm going to try and find good pictures while you talk about it. This is
but
pretty
it's
good.
made by Neon Falcom. These are the same guys who are well known for the Ys series and for the Legend of Heroes, the Trails in the Sky and Trails of Cold Steel.
Yes.
Those really big ones that a lot of you probably have known from like the
anime. They're anime games.
But the whole point is, it's an action.
Yeah, it looks very similar to a certain game we also said earlier, Legend of Zelda.
Yes, sir.
These early adventure games are inspiring that, and if anything, this is a lot more advanced looking.
Yeah, because you've got an actual seamless open world. You're out there trying to find treasure, and the combat is not really the highlight. You just kind of bump into the enemy, and you just wait for numbers to go down.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that you can actually pick up and carry stuff, bring it back to your base. You have different areas to explore. It's not really that like appealing or that big by today's standards, but what it actually did and what it helped to establish in terms of like the action RPG genre and for the game makers themselves, I think it's really worth a mention.
Especially just looking at the side of the screen on here. For one, we have a giant sub menu that pulls up on the side of the game that says hit points. So you HP.
Yep.
I'm not willing to look it up right now, but I don't know anything earlier that actually says hit points.
Outside of like college mainframe games, not really much commercially.
That's already kind of impressive. And,
Yeah.
and very definitive for later. We have a strength stat, we have experience, we have gold, we have magic power, and crown, whatever that is.
Money.
And that monster, that might be a map down there too. There's so much that's being tracked on this.
If I remember correct, that monster tab down at the bottom tells you what monster you're fighting and gives you, that's
actually the logo.
But yeah, it'll tell you what monster you're fighting and give you a bit of a more detailed picture of it.
That's really cool. Yeah, I can't exactly get a better shot at the moment while I'm scrolling through here, but yeah. Here we go. Here's a good one.
Yeah.
You can see like their stats too. Is something that I really wanted to pull up and see because it's not like you can actually weigh yours against theirs.
So if you don't have enough strength, you can flee, come back later, and just what you would expect for a Japanese style of role-playing game.
Yeah, really awesome.
It's really good.
But still in the same vein, we try to see what we're doing. We're trying to keep these relevant. We're trying to make sure that it makes sense.
Doing themes.
Yeah, I don't know how many themes we're going to have in the later episodes. It might just jump all over the place. But anyway, Tower of, is it Draga?
Tower of Druaga.
Druaga. I always said Draga.
I say Druaga. I don't know how you say it. It's fantasy. You can't really pronounce it properly. But anyway.
Hey, how about another Smash Brothers random reference for this video?
I know.
Gil, the protagonist from this game, is actually a playable Mii fighter in Super Smash Brothers. Not the base game, though. I think he's a DLC one?
Yes.
Because it's owned by Bandai Namco, if I remember correctly.
Because this was also another Namco arcade game.
Yep. And
this is honestly, being completely biased, this is my favorite game on this list.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell us all about why it's so great.
So it's another Maze-style game made on the same engine used for Pac-Man. You play as Gilgamesh. Yes, from actual mythology. Going into a 64, he looks so similar. So anime.
You can't tell from his Mii fighter outfit?
That's Gilgamesh from mythology.
That's Gilgamesh.
Anyway, but the whole point of the game is that you're supposed to be scaling a 60-floor tower in order to rescue the Maiden Key from the demon Druaga. And you're supposed to be finding different items on each floor that is going to help you on your quest. The one thing I will say against it is that some of those items are not helpful, and how you get those items is a bear. You don't know how you're supposed to do it. But
we're going all Simon's Quest on this?
Yeah, so it's like some items will give you like a poison instead of a potion, and when you go to the next floor, you're just dead.
Well, that's actually kind of interesting. Like an early game where the player can't trust everything that they run into. This is a dangerous place.
And what we talked about in our Zelda tier list, this is one of those games that really required a lot of word of mouth and cooperation with other players.
And that's what made it so fun. What made Zelda 1 so much fun.
Exactly. So like on the first floor, kill 4 green slimes, you get a pickaxe in order to break down some walls. In the next one, you kill 1 or 2 black slimes, you get the speed boots. Stuff like that.
And so you find secrets, or you get killed unfairly by something, and now you've got like an experience, and you share that with friends or people who are also playing the game.
Exactly.
Go to their house, you see them playing, like, don't go over there, like try this and try this thing. And all of a sudden, it's like this whole like cooperative like gameplay thing, and learning about how the game works and how it plays.
Yeah. And again, this is one of those games that kind of, I think, also served as inspiration for Zelda.
Yeah, if we're gonna keep. Let me check my watch. Is it time for another Smash Brothers or Zelda reference coming up next? Let's see. Actually, hold on. Neither. We're moving on to a totally different type of game. That's enough for adventure stuff because we're already way over time.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're gonna play Breakout.
I like this game.
I like this game too. And you know what? Is really funny. My dad hates video games and says he's never wants to play video games. He thinks they're stupid. However, his family, he grew up with Atari.
Yep.
And he played a lot of Breakout, and he loves Breakout. And he just keeps saying I just wish I could play more Breakout. I want to put Breakout on my computer. I want to play it on my phone. I'm like, Dad, there's other games that are like this. You like games, I know you do.
But it's not Breakout.
But it's not exactly. I mean, we all have nostalgia for certain things, and I totally get it, and that's exactly what he's talking about. So if you don't have the pleasure of witnessing this incredible visual spectacular display going on here.
So much colors.
I am effectively playing Pong against a rainbow.
Yeah, so the whole point of Breakout is that you have a wall of blocks against you.
Right, and I just failed miserably.
Yeah, you're supposed to use the paddle to direct a ball to break down these different these different blocks.
Right,
And it's the whole game.
Yes, that's the entire game.
Now, other games will come along later that will do this formula a lot better. Arkanoid was one of the games I wanted to put on this list, but I figured we might as well talk about this.
Too freaking many. And also, another thing that's really weird about Breakout is that I actually didn't really like. I'm pretty sure the little puck, the ball, moves in a random direction and not well. It's like predetermined.
Kind of.
It's so weird. It doesn't move as comfortable as another game we're going to be talking about in just a moment. If anything, we should probably just move on to it because honestly, Breakout, that's it.
This is it.
But honestly, the reason we want to talk about it is because it's a big thing. A lot of people had this in their homes, similar to Dig Dug. My dad played a ton of this game, and he hates video games, but he loved Breakout. So that's got to say something, right? But
we need to talk about the game that
came before it that made this possible, and kind of made almost all of them possible. An interactive medium where I can actually play a video game or like a game on a computer screen with another person.
Yep.
Pong did that, guys, and I'm going to be playing this, unfortunately, on a different site here, because I couldn't get Pong to work on there, and I thought it'd be too stupid for us to actually, not actually play Pong when we're talking about how important Pong is. I'm going to try and play this, a single player on this this Flash version on this website, just so that you can know where I'm at. I'm at ponggame.org, by the way.
Yeah, so for anyone who wants to know, Pong came out in 1972. And
oh my god, I'm doing so bad.
You're good at video games, right?
I'm good at video. Wait, here, hold on. What was going on? I was like, oh my god, I'm doing so bad. Just keep talking about Pong. I promise I'm good at games. This is the worst display I've ever done in my life. It's 5-0.
1972.
1972.
Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari, basically made this game, and it took the world by storm.
It did.
It was they started out in like a couple bars.
And you basically had like 2 little dials, right? And, oh my god.
And yeah, so the whole point is
I'm going to refresh the game.
No,
I'm refreshing the game.
Live with your mistakes.
I'm going to play with the mouse instead.
Don't move off the screen, because remember that kills
right, if you move off the screen, then I won't be able to control. But anyway, this is moving with the mouse is actually a lot closer to what the original Pong was.
Yep.
Because Pong, like I said, you're moving dials. You're not moving. You're not pushing buttons, right? Which is why I was doing so badly. You can move at whatever speed you wanted, and it was basically air hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a digital version of air hockey, where, like you said, you had 2 paddles, which you could turn left or right, depending if you want to move up and down. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I do like about this game, you can add a little bit of English to your serve, if you catch my meaning. Yeah,
actually I'm trying to do it here. And that's what was my complaint about Breakout, was if you see how I hit it on an angle there intentionally so it was harder to read. Oh god, I scrolled out of the game twice in a row and I died immediately. 4!
Oh, you can do it.
It's the only reason that I'm gonna lose is just because I'm scrolling away too fast.
You need just 3 more points.
But yeah, that's what I think makes it so interesting, was like how much control people had over this, and the originals did too. It was like light projected on a screen, I believe.
It wasn't raster. I think it was like wireframe or whatever the other
I'm not
version.
positive.
Yeah,
but
Vector.
Right. Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, this honestly, there's really not much else to talk about this. It's Pong. but still, we got to talk about it. Well, everything really came from this. Just this. Yeah. What this was just interactive digital media. Yep. And it proved that it was commercially viable.
Right. And sure, people bought Pong consoles. Yep. It was such a big deal.
Sears put out a Pong console.
Yeah, and it was just dials. Yeah. You just get a person, you have one dial, this is my dial, and that was it. I believe the old Commodore, it was on everything.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a really big deal, and because of that, we were able to get so many other games, and we kind of wanted to hold this one and save it for last, just because of that big reason of, you
Yes.
know, like, this is the big special thing. However, like we did last time, and I kind of want to make it a tradition, let's pick our favorite game from the list. Zach already told us his, and then what if there's anyone that probably should be like, you know, the game of this year. Obviously, we can't have a game of this year, so probably like the most important one, and if we're both going to be perfectly honest, it's probably Pong.
Most important, yeah,
it's gotta be Pong. Even of all of the other things we talked about, there's a lot of really fun and awesome things we talked about today, but Pong is the most important.
But subjective, what's your
subjectively? I gotta say, if I'm gonna sit down and play any of these, surprisingly, I think it's Tetris.
Tetris.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I've went out of my way to once again, don't tell Nintendo. Every single one of these, I'm gonna have another tradition of revealing something that I'm doing that Nintendo would be really mad at me about. But I installed an emulator on my phone so I could play specifically NES Tetris. I play that in Dr. Mario. That's it. I just want it, like, sometimes I have like 5 minutes. I want to play that Tetris. I don't want to play the other Tetrises I can download. I want that one.
See, it was the Game Boy version. That's my favorite.
You know, well, still, you could do the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
It's effectively the same game. It's just that I just really, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that it feels... I could talk forever about Tetris and why I think it's great. I don't want to get into that. But your favorite, again, was which one?
Tower of Jiraga, and tied off, I would actually say, with Missile Command.
Yeah, just for like wanted to sit down and play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to actually like showcase and play either.
know.
But still, you guys have a chance to do that now. So there's that. There's a bunch of games that at least maybe you didn't realize even existed or how important they were. So we got to cover them today. And now we don't feel as bad about moving on from 1985 and forward because we have so many of these we want to do. Obviously, there's a lot of years in between.
Math is hard. How many years is that?
That is, hold on. Many years.
Many years.
That's almost lots.
That's almost lots?
that's
like dozens.
That's like more than several.
Whoa.
But anyway, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of HITBOX. If you enjoyed the show, you can help us keep it alive by supporting us on Patreon with the links in the show notes in this video's description. For those of you on YouTube, remember to like this video and subscribe for more, and be sure to let us know what you thought of the show and what other topics you would like to hear us cover in the future. And special thanks to all of our amazing Patreon members.
See ya.